How's it going, everyone? Today we have a story of one of the cringiest emo kids of all time, so sit back, relax, subscribe to the channel if you're new. We're calling today's subscriber who submitted the story Brent. So this all happened when Brent was at soccer camp. And so Brent went to the soccer camp every single year, and it just happened that this year he encountered the emo kid at soccer camp. So anyways, this was just another summer of Brent going to soccer camp. His mom dropped him off, and once again, he was pretty excited to go. Unfortunately, some of the friends he made from the year before, they didn't show up this time, so he was very proactive about finding people, meeting new people, and trying to make some new friends. So anyways, in the very beginning of soccer camp, they had kind of a get to know other people type deal. And all of a sudden, right, Brent sees this girl, and she was at kind of like the girls' soccer camp. So it was kind of split up like boys' soccer camp and girls' soccer camp. However, it was all under the same umbrella of like the soccer camp program. So they would eat lunch together, do non-soccer activities, but like the morning soccer practices were kind of split up by gender like that. And so anyways, right away, Brent saw this girl, Emily, and he immediately kind of fell in love with her. Not actually, but was like, OMG, lol, she's cute. I'm going to try and hit. No, I'm just kidding. He's like, I don't know. He's going to soccer camp. He's not trying to hit, bro. That's crazy. But anyways, right, so she's going to be an important character later on. But for the meantime, we don't need to think about her because someone much more important comes into the picture. So while Brent is thinking about like, oh my God, look at that girl over there. I got to start talking to her. That's crazy. He accidentally bumps into this guy and turns around. This guy is like, I don't know, a little bit bigger than him, a little bit heavier than him, just like kind of a bigger guy. And he's got this like long black hair that's swooshed over. He's wearing like the standard soccer cleats, but otherwise it's like this black band heavy metal t-shirt. He's got like black painted nails. He's got like a spiky wristband on or whatever. And he turns around, he's like, yo, what did you bump into me, bro? And Brent's like, oh, my fault, like, didn't mean to do that. He's like, you don't think that I'm an alpha? Is that what you think? Brent's like, what? He's like, I'm an alpha male, just in case you weren't aware, which I know that you subconsciously were, because, all betas instantly know when there's an alpha present. And Andrew was the guy from like 7 stories ago. Brent was like, what? He's like, bro, do you not know what beta males and alpha males are? Well, basically, beta males are like you and lame, and alpha males are strong, powerful, and dominant in the pack. And with that, like, the emo kid does a big, like, swipe of his big, long, black hair, so, like, his bangs would no longer cover his eyes. It immediately fell back in front of his face. He's like, yeah, just so you know, kid, get out of my way. And the emo kid, like, shuffles away. And this was Brent's first interaction with the emo kid. So he's like, okay, that's cool, man. Like, okay, see you around, buddy. Bye-bye. So anyways, let's fast forward a little bit. After soccer practice in the morning, Brent was actually one of the better kids there. He was pretty good at soccer. They had lunch, and in the afternoon, they had activities such as like this, like, I don't know, like tag, capture the flag, all kind of like random camp activities. And today was capture the flag, and Brent happened to be on the same team as Emily. So immediately he goes over there. He's like, hey, how's it going? Like, my name is Brent. Emily's like, hey, like, my name's Emily. Nice to meet you. And Brent and Emily immediately hit it off. They're having a good time. They're talking with each other. They're enjoying each other's company. You simply love to see it. And like from very far away, Brent catches the eye of the emo kid who's on the other team and is just staring him down for some reason. Brent doesn't really think much of it, and then he goes back to talking to Emily. So they're playing capture the flag right now, and Brent, runs over to the other side, gets the flag, right, and starts running back to his side. If you don't know capture the flag, there's like this little penny on both sides or like a little piece of cloth or something, and while you're on the opponent's side, if they tag you, you're in jail. But what you're trying to do is you're trying to run over there, grab their flag, and run back to your side without being tagged. However, there was a stipulation that it had to be a tag. This isn't tackling. You can't push someone. You can't like punch them or anything. You have to tag them if they're on your side. So, Brent is running over there. Sorry, I have a list of names in front of me and from other stories. Brent is running over there. He grabs the enemy team's flag and is running back to his side, and he's really close when he just like immediately slams into the ground. And that's when he realizes that there's a big guy on top of him. And that's when he realizes that the emo kid tackled him. So the emo kid's like, nice try, buddy. Next time, try not to fight the alpha males. And then camp counselor comes over and says, hey, we said no tackling. You're on the sidelines, points to the emo kid, he's disqualified or whatever, has to sit on the sidelines. Ooh, so alpha, man. But anyways, right, so the penny's returned, but also Brent isn't in, like, jail. He goes back to the other side, and the emo kid has to sit out for the rest of Capture the Flag, and Brent continues to talk to Emily, and the entire time, the emo kid is just, like, looking over, and he's, like, all angrily staring at Brent. So Brent is now his official enemy. Brent kind of just assumed that they were enemies because of when he bumped into him and also when he got him disqualified, which, did Brent really get him disqualified, or was it because he's an idiot and jumped on him? That's why he got disqualified? Who knows, man? But there was another reason why the emo kid hated Brent. There was another reason that Brent did not realize at the moment, but was very, very, very potent, and is going to be very, very important for later on in the story. I'm gonna give you guys a hint. It starts with an E and ends with a Emily. Did you guys get it? Starts with an E and ends with a Emily. Emily? I'm just going to tell you, yeah, it is Emily, the girl. So emo kid likes her. Anyways, so Brent and Emily talk for the rest of that Capture the Flag game. The entire time the emo kid is staring Brent down. Brent just simply assumes, well, this kid hates me for that reason only. But let me just say that the next week of soccer camp was the craziest week that Brent has ever had. So anyways, right, his mom picks him up. He goes back home. His mom's like, hey, how was the first day? And Brent says, oh, I met this really weird kid who tackled me. And she's like, oh my God, are you okay? He's like, yeah, actually, I have barely any scrapes on me even. But he seems to not like me, so I'll keep you updated on that. So Brent is dropped off the next day, and he walks over there. And that's when the emo kid, is just staring him down. And, Brent is kind of walking over because there's a little bit of like a 5, 10, 15-minute period where the kids are just standing around talking with each other, waiting for them all to be dropped off. And then the soccer camp officials or camp counselors would then split them up into groups, do soccer drills, play games, whatever, standard kind of affair. And he's just kind of waiting around. And that's when the emo kid comes up to him and says, so you're challenging my authority as the alpha man. And Brent is kind of just like, what? He's like, I'll say it again, just in case your little beta ears couldn't hear me. So you're challenging my authority that I am the alpha male of the pack. If we were wolves, which we kind of are, and Brent was like, what? If we were wolves, as we kind of are, as I said, I would be the alpha male, alpha wolf, and you would be the beta wolf, and I would be banging your wife while you watch little cuck beta wolf. Whoa. And Brent is looking at this kid, and this kid is like, no offense, but this kid is like the opposite of what a stereotypical alpha male would look like, right? One of those red-pilled alpha males. It just looks the complete opposite of that. But anyways, Brent's not gonna get into like he's not gonna rebuttal this kid, because like, what is there to rebuttal? Everything, man. Like this kid has no argument. But anyways, Brent's like, okay, and the emo kid's like, well, you say okay, but remember yesterday when you got me kicked out of the game, which you obviously tipped off the ref? And Brent's like, bro, you tackled me. It's very clearly stated in the rule books that you're not allowed to tackle anyone. How is this on me? He's like, dude, it was so clearly on you because the ref understood that I was the alpha male and I was simply asserting my dominance, bro. And, Brent's just like, dude, the frick are you talking about, dude? Like, I paid him off with what? The $5 allowance I get a week? With what? My used smelly, stinky socks? What do I have? And he's like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe he took his daughter on a date because his daughter's so ugly she'd never get a date. Oh. And Brent's like, was that a diss? Like, does he even have a daughter? He's like 20, bro. What? And the emo kid's like, anyways, I just wanted to let you know that I'm the alpha man. You're the beta man. I will do your wife when you have one. And scene. And the emo kid walks away. And Brent at this point is like, what? Why? Why is this my life? Anyway, so skip forward to the soccer practice. They're put into groups, And the emo kid was in group B earlier, so they basically split them up into group A and group B. So the group A is the better players, and group B is the I'm just kidding, the players who are newer to soccer. And the emo kid apparently was on the cusp of group A. It was at the very top of group B, and because his performance was good enough, he was actually moved up to group A. So now Brent, instead of having a morning to himself to focus on soccer, now had to deal with the emo kid being, thrown into the mix here. So anyways, they're doing some drills with the soccer ball, and they're kind of like kicking them around cones. You had to kind of keep control of the ball while you were running. And the emo kid, they said, okay, line up into 3 groups. And the emo kid immediately ran behind Brent. And Brent kind of looks behind him. He's like, what? And the emo kid said, nothing, Brent. Just letting you know that I'm the alpha male here. And Brent's like, okay, fine. Let's just do the drill. So the ref blows the whistle. Brent starts kicking the ball and moving with it. And the emo kid immediately runs up behind him and trips him. He's like, oh, sorry. And the ref's like, hey. And the emo kid's like, it was an accident, I swear. And the ref's like, all right, be careful. And Brent is starting to get really angry because, if you get an injury in soccer, especially if you get, a foot injury, he could be out for the entire week. I mean, this is, one of his favorite camps that he has every single summer. He loves going to it. It's one of his favorite things to do. And this emo kid, for the second time in the last 24 hours, has, has gotten really close to causing him a pretty big injury. He could have jumped, he jumped on him yesterday. He ran behind him, knocking him over. What if he twisted an ankle? What if he, fractured something in his leg? It's not that hard, especially when you got a big old kid jumping on top of you every 5 minutes. It's difficult. It's not that difficult, man. So anyways, Brent, for the next activity, waits to get into line before the emo kid does, because he doesn't want to be in the same line as the emo kid. But it turns out that, everyone else lines up, and it's literally just Brent and the emo kid waiting for each other to move, because the Brent wants to go where the emo kid doesn't go, and the emo kid wants to go where Brent goes. And the refs not the refs, but the soccer coaches are like, come on, kind of like, guys, get into line. And Brent's like, okay. And he sprints to the end of the line, and then the emo kid sprints to the back of that line. And the coach is like, emo kid, says his actual name, can you go to another line? That line's too long. And the emo kid's like, okay, moves over one line. And when the coach turns his head, the emo kid literally runs back into the line with Brent again. So when the coach turns around, he's like, wait, emo kid, I said, could you go to that line? And he's like, fine. Emo kid eventually goes to that line, actually does that. So for the rest of soccer practice, the emo kid tried to bump into Brent, tried to make his life difficult, basically was just being a big butt the entire time. But thankfully, that nothing really happened. He didn't bump into Brent successfully again. In fact, the emo kid, most of the time when he tried to bump into Brent would do some very slick soccer move, kind of break his ankles, not literally, but you know what I mean. And the emo kid would fall flat on his face because he kind of tried to run into Brent, and then Brent sidestepped him and completely swerved out of his way. Anyways, though, things start to get a little bit more interesting because throughout the next day, Brent and Emily are talking it up. It's kind of the known thing for the camp that those two were kind of the unofficial soccer camp couple. I don't know if your camps had stuff like that, but this was true for the soccer camp. And word was that the two of them, they were gonna kiss soon. Oh my God, guys, isn't that 12th base or something? So sure enough, right, one of these days, so a day later, Emily and Brent are just sitting with each other at lunch. They're kind of on a quote unquote date or whatever. And that's when a girl comes over and sits next to them. And Emily's like, oh, this is my friend Robin. And Robin's like, hey guys, I just want to let you know, Emily, that the kid over there, and points to the emo kid, is planning to ask you out soon. And Emily's like, dude, I don't know that kid. I've never spoken to him in my life. And Brent's like, oh my God, I know exactly who that kid is. Emily's like, what? And Brent basically tells her the story that I told you guys for the last 13 minutes. And she's like, oh my God, he's the worst. And Brent's like, well, that would explain why he really hates me too, because not just that I embarrassed him, but I've been hanging out with you the entire time. And, he probably knows that we've been talking a lot. And Emily laughs a little bit. And this is when Robin says, dude, I'm serious. This kid is going to come over and ask you out within the next 24 hours. He's going to do it publicly. It's going to be really embarrassing. Everyone's told him not to do it, but he's in his own world. You gotta let him down nicely though. And, Brent was like, no, no mercy, no mercy. Make him suffer. Emily's like, Brent, I'm not going to make him suffer. I don't know this kid. Brent's like, make him suffer. Emily's like, shh. Okay, I'm going to be nice. When he comes over, I'm going to be firm. I'm going to be direct, but I'm going to be nice about it. I'm going to be cordial. And life is going to go back to what it was before. So sure enough, right, Brent now realizes that the emo kid has a massive crush on Emily. And Brent also starts to think about it. When Emily says no to him, and when she starts really, hanging out with me more, and when word gets around that we kiss, because we totally are, this is in Brent's head, right? He's going to actually, ramp up the craziness even more than it already is. I think I'm screwed, boys. Real quick, if you made it this far into the video, comment emo down below. I'm going to heart as many comments as I can that say that. That is the secret word of the day. And also, if you want to support the channel and help boost me back into the algorithm, all you got to do is at some point, maybe after this video, maybe later, sit down and watch a bunch of my videos in a row, maybe while you're playing video games or drawing or cleaning your room, or maybe to help you go to sleep. I take that as a compliment now. I understand it. Leave in the comment section down below how you're helping boost the channel. I will heart it, I will say thank you, and I'll even shout some people out, like the person on screen right now. Thank you to this person on screen and all of you guys for all the support recently. It's really helped boost the channel. We're growing again. You'll love to see it. Let's get back to the story. So anyways, flash forward to that night, or not that night, but that afternoon. Remember when this is the mixed gender, just fun, more camp activities, they're playing dodgeball. And sure enough, the emo kid and Brent actually happen to be on the same team this time. So emo kid and Brent, they're picking up the dodgeballs, they're throwing them, they're trying to avoid being hit by the dodgeballs. And the emo kid walks over and is like, "Sup, bro?" And Brent's like, "What?" Emo kid's like, "I just want to let you know that, I know that you and Emily, or you have been trying to flirt with Emily, and it's been failing horribly from my sources, at least that's what my sources said. And I just want to let you know that, I let you have your fun. I let you play like the little beta little lamb you are. But I'm actually going to come in and, as the alpha male, assert my dominance and claim what is mine. Emily shall be my girlfriend by the end of tomorrow. Mark my words, and I will watch as little tears roll down your face because you're so sad that I took your girl. Oh, little Brent, I'm so sorry." Brent's like, "Dude, she's not gonna, I've talked to her, she's gonna say no. Don't do it. I hate you, but I know for a fact that you're gonna get rejected in front of everyone." The emo kid's like, "Nice try, little boy. I know for a fact that my testosterone is 10 trillion and yours is 0. So based on that alone, plus a billion other factors, such as my manliness, my alpha maleness, my swag, overall levels, and a billion more things, she will obviously say yes to me. And even if you two are fake dating, she'll break up with you immediately to say yes to me. I just know some things that you don't know, Brent. Get over it." So the emo kid walks away. And Brent's like, "Well, my conscience is clear because I tried to warn the kid not to do it. I tried to warn the kid, right? I'm not a bad guy. I told him not to do it. I told him. I said, I even gave him the benefit of the doubt. I said, I don't like you, but I want to help you here. He didn't listen to me. It's not my fault, whatever happens tomorrow." Next day rolls around. At soccer practice, the emo kid for the entire morning is like, Brent, better spend the last moments with Emily as you can because she's about to be my girlfriend. Oh, and Brent's like, "Dude, shut up, dude." He's like, "Oh my God, am I getting to you, man? Am I getting to you, man? Oh man, it was so easy to break your thin, weak beta skin. Oh my God, my words are hurting you so much. I'm gonna lick up your little salty tears. They're so tasty and so good." And Brent's like, "Shut up, bro. You're gonna get embarrassed. I can't wait for the moment. She better go hard." Anyways, flash forward to lunch. The moment. So anyways, Brent is sitting with Emily, and Emily's like, "Dude, the emo kid, I can't see him anywhere." And Brent's like, "Dude, he's going to ask you out. It's happening. Get over it. It's going to happen any second." She's like, he's going to do it the next day, which means probably now in front of everyone. And, Brent's like, that's what he said he would do. And Brent was like, oh my God, don't turn around. Because Brent was looking, and the emo kid was walking over. And what was he walking over with? He was walking over with a boom box. You already know where this is going. And Brent's like, you know what? Brace yourself. Try and have an out-of-body experience right now so you don't have to deal with what's about to happen. This is about to be bad, Emily. I'm so sorry. And Emily's like, oh my God, oh my God. And that's when you start to hear music. It's the emo kid's personal band. So it's like this heavy metal rock band. So just imagine some like heavy metal rock going in the background. And the lyrics are, Emily, Emily, why do you hang with losers like Brent? Emily, please love me. Yeah. And it's just kind of like more stuff like that in the background. And the emo kid is like rocking out by himself with an air guitar while this is all going on. It is the worst moment of Brent's life because the secondhand embarrassment is so strong, he's basically getting firsthand embarrassment from the whole thing. Everyone has stopped eating and turned around, including the camp counselors. They're just watching this kid bounce around with an air guitar with his like super long black bangs flying all around the place as this boombox plays one of the crappiest songs they've ever heard, terribly mixed, the worst lyrics, basically saying that Brent sucks and that she should be in love with him, and he's bouncing around, and then after 5 whole excruciating minutes, and everyone at this point is laughing and trying to hold themselves together, after 5 whole long excruciating minutes of the worst music ever and some like really bad air guitar and bouncing around, the song stops and the emo kid says, Emily, it is clear who you shall choose. What is your verdict? And Emily's like, I'm sorry, I don't know you. I'm not going out with you. Emo kid's like, that's hilarious. What's your actual verdict? Emily's like, dude, I don't know you. He's like, dude, that's hilarious. What's your actual verdict? And Brent's like, all right, man, that's enough. Let's concede while we're behind. The emo kid looks at Brent and says, this isn't over, man. And he walks away with his boombox. And Brent's like, why did he say that to me? I didn't dump him. And Emily's like, dude, that was worse than I could have ever imagined. And right, so Robin, the friend who warned them, came over again and said, look, I should have warned you about that. I didn't think it was real. I didn't even think that was actually going to happen. I was told earlier this morning and I laughed. I'm so sorry. I should take anything that you hear about this kid seriously from this point on because, oh my God. And Emily's like, wait. Oh no, we still have an activity tonight, this afternoon. And Brent's like, oh my God, he said this isn't over. And sure enough, it was far from over. So they get to the activity that afternoon. So it was probably the worst possible activity that it could have been because it was small groups of charades. They kind of ran out. They had something else planned, but since it started to rain, they had to go inside. So they're like, all right, we're going to break you off into small groups of 3. And we're going to have you play charades with each other. And at this point, they're like, okay, what are the odds? Brent's like, what are the odds that I'm put with? And the person says, Brent, Emily, and emo kid. And Brent's like, you got to be joking, man. You got to be joking. Apparently, right, Robin tells him this, later on, once the camp is over. Apparently, because she was talking with one of the camp counselors about everything that went down. The camp counselor said that, once, it started to rain, the emo kid went up to them and asked what they were doing. Camp counselor said, oh, we're doing small groups of charades. And the emo kid requested that his 2 best friends and him were put together in a group. So it wasn't just random, it was the emo kid. But Brent didn't know that at the time. So Brent looks at Emily, and Emily looks at Brent. And they're both basically just like, oh boy. And they both look at the emo kid, who has a massive smile on his face. So all 3 of them go away to a corner. And the emo kid's like, Emily, I might have came on too strong. And she's like, well, that's an understatement. But he's like, I will show you the truth. Brent, I challenge you to an alpha battle. Brent's just like, what's an alpha battle? Ha! You're such a beta for not knowing what an alpha battle is. Beta. He's like, an alpha battle will be proof that I am alpha and you are a weak beta. And then Emily will choose me. And Emily's like, I'm not. And he's like, wait, your heart will tell you otherwise after the alpha battle. Emily's like, okay, I'm still not going to. She's like, God, stop, silence, woman. And Brent was like, whoa, chill out, dude. He's like, You silence too? We're having an alpha battle right now. So, right, this kind of looks like they're doing really weird charades from afar, but the emo kid is like, all right, let's form our best wolf poses. Brent's like, what? He said, form your best wolf poses now. And emo kid, Brent's like, all right. Ooh, emo kid's like, that is the worst wolf pose I've ever seen. You were definitely not part wolf like I am. And the emo kid does this really weird pose. He's like, oh my god, I'm wolfing so hard right now. This is the most emo thing. I mean, the most the most alpha thing I've ever done. Oh my god. At this point, Emily's like, guys, you are both embarrassing yourselves. Emo kid, it's like, no, you will see that I'm the most alpha. I swear. Emo kid's like, all right, let's do it. Wrestle me. And, Brent's like, what? Emo kid jumps on top of him, just tackles him to the ground. Because he's like 20 pounds heavier, right? And a little bit taller. And Brent was completely taken off guard. He's like, bro, stop. What are you doing? And the emo kid's like, I'm out alphaing you. That's when the camp counselor comes over and says, all right, guys, break it up. Tears the two of them apart. He's like, all right, so we're only doing this for 20 more minutes, but it looks like you two can't keep off of each other, so I'm going to be joining your group. Imagine how awkward this is. It is Emily, Brent, the emo kid, and a random camp counselor. So they do normal charades, right? And the entire time, the emo kid is like sneaking in punches to Brent's arm. He's like, ow. And when the camp counselor looks up, the emo kid puts his arms behind his back. And the emo kid's like, this isn't over, man. And then the emo kid walks over to Emily. He's like, tss, tss, Emily, tss. Emily's like, what? Do you think I'm more alpha? Shut up, kid. Emo kid's like, no. Okay, I'll just be direct. Do you want to go out with me? No! And the camp counselor was like, guys, silence while I'm doing charades. And Emily's like, dude, I don't want to go out with you. How many times do I need to tell you this? Emo kid's like, but I'm definitely more alpha. She's like, that's not a real thing. So the next day rolls around. It's Thursday. And that afternoon, there's no real activity. It's just known as like the soccer dance or whatever. And during the soccer dance, there's one coveted slow song where anyone who has feelings for each other might ask for like a slow song or something. And sure enough, let's just jump to the dance because the emo kid is like being a jerk to Brent all day, but that's not anything new. And sure enough, it is the dance. And they're putting on normal songs. And Emily and Robin and Brent are all together like, dude. And Robin's like, dude, the emo kid is definitely going to try and get that slow song with you. Like, Brent, you got to swoop in right away. Because at this point, Brent and Emily were, like, unofficially a thing. They're only at camp for a week, so they're not going to make, like, a long-term relationship. Let's have kids, baby. Okay, you know what I mean. But sure enough, the slow song comes on. And Brent's like, oh my God. And Emily's like, quickly. And you can see the emo kid sprinting from the other side of the room. So Emily and Brent quickly like get together in the slow song, kind of like whatever. And Emily's standing there and she feels Brent being ripped off of him. And the emo kid grabs Brent, rips him off Emily and tackles him on the ground. And this is what the camp counselors are like, oh, okay, foul play. They go in, they grab the emo kid and they like run it, like they take him off. They're like, all right, buddy, this is like your third strike and you are out. So they call up the parents of the emo kid. They say, your son can't come tomorrow. He's like fighting this one kid again and again and he won't stop. And so sure enough, the emo kid was picked up, taken away, and Brent and Emily finished off with a slow song together. The next day rolls around. It is Friday. It is only a half day where basically the parents come and watch a little like soccer presentation that all the kids have done. And by the end of it, right, most people are packing up. Brent and Emily are gone. And you remember the friend Robin from the beginning? One of the camp counselors and Robin were like friends or whatever, or like friendly. And the camp counselor's like, do you happen to know about that like emo looking kid? Like, do you happen to know what was up with him? And Robin's like, do I have a
Click on the video on screen right now.
You?
I know you'll enjoy it. Just click it. Do it.